Hey, Passion Church family. Hope everybody's being safe out there. We're praying for you and believing that during this time, man, you guys are just trying to stay connected and focused and take care of your babies and everything else that comes with being quarantined or for some of you trapped at home. But we wanted just to dive in really quick, just a little quick marriage.
Quarantine 101
Quarantine 101,
from
husband and
Passion
wife,
Church.
husband wife duo. But just one thing that is like maybe driving you nuts in your marriage. What's that one thing that you just say, Lord, if you fix this, I will do whatever you want me to? That one thing. And what would you say that one thing would be
For us?
for us?
Communication.
Communication.
Yeah.
So if it's big for us, it probably is pretty big for you. But communication is huge, especially during this time. I mean, you got to understand so many different things have just shifted. Things that have been just flipped upside down, and being able to connect with your spouse with exactly what's going on, how it's happening. One thing that we do, and I'll let my wife kind of just talk about a little bit what we do when maybe communication is not where it needs to be, especially now. So
Well, I just think that right now in this specific season that we're all in with being quarantined, I think it's just a good time to really evaluate your marriage and see where you guys are at as a couple, and just take advantage of the situation. Let's turn the negative into a positive, and I think it's a good thing where you can actually just kind of come back to your marriage and kind of reevaluate your guys' expectations for one another, because let's face it, things have changed around us. We are spending a lot more time with our spouse. I don't know if you guys know, but Romeo and I actually work together. We're around each other a lot. So we go to work together, we come home together. And so for us, not during the quarantine really hasn't changed a lot for us personally, but I can see how people or couples who are not used to being together 24/7, how that can kind of throw a wrench in your marriage. I would just say maybe one thing that you guys can do is just really reevaluate your guys' expectations for one another, and just kind of, you might have to bring them down a notch. You might have to just really come in and focus on one thing that you guys are really good at. And I would say if you guys have something in common that maybe brought you together in the beginning, maybe if that's like music, if you guys like cooking, or if you guys like exercising or gardening, or just something like that can kind of just give you something to do, something to look forward throughout in the day, and really build on that. I think it's important. It's another thing you can also do is just really get to know your spouse again. As we grow and as we become, we don't stay the same. The goal is not to stay the same. We're not the same person when we got married till now. So I think just for couples to really study your partner and get to know them on a different level. Maybe you haven't had time to do that, but really you have all the time right now to do that with one another, and just just the little things. And also, I really do think that it's important that you are very intentional with your time throughout the day. Just being able to continue on with date night, if you guys do a date night a week, whether that what that looks like for you, I don't know. Maybe it's a hike, maybe it's running to the closest Nico's and getting a burrito in the car and hanging out for 10 minutes just for the two of you. I know that's kind of what we did last week. I don't know what that looks like for you, but make it intentional, make it purposeful. And so I just think being able to do those little things in your marriage will take you a long way.
And so with all that, just understanding where you're at currently, I mean, just being able to talk to each other. I mean, sometimes your spouse may want to spend a little more time with you in an intentional way, but for some of you, man, you just may need a little bit of space. But if that is not communicated within your marriage, you're gonna have hiccup after hiccup after hiccup. So coming together and communicating exactly what you guys need from each other is gonna be like extremely vital, because when your spouse knows what you need and you understand each other's needs, especially during this time, then we can work with each other,
and we can respect
meet
each
those
other's
needs.
like if he tells me that he needs some alone time, I'm 100% going to respect that. And I'm going to appreciate the fact that he communicated that to me. I won't get offended by that. But if he just goes in the room and shuts the door and doesn't say anything to me, then I'm going to be a little like upset about that. Like, what's going on here? But, you know, I think that's where the communication part comes. And it's so important to do that, to be able to have the freedom to speak what you're really feeling in your marriage. He has the freedom to say what he needs to say, and I have the freedom to say what I need to say. And I think that's really important, because then when you feel like you don't have the freedom to do those things, then I think it manifests into something later in your relationship, and it will come out in a different, probably not so healthy way.
Yeah.
So
ultimately, man, keeping those lines of communication open, understand where each other are at, what the expectations are for each other, make them clear. Don't be afraid. Give each other freedom. Give each other grace to express yourselves completely. And it just brings to me Ephesians chapter 5, when it talks about the wives and the husbands, and starting in verse 22. And it says, "Wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands in everything." But the kicker that often is left out is verse 25, where it says, "Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church." Because I'll tell you right now, and this is specifically for the husbands, if you are in a state like, why doesn't my wife submit? Why does it this, or why isn't that? It's not about her. Don't spend time evaluating her. Evaluate yourself. Are you truly loving your wife like Christ loves the church? And when you're able to love your wife like Christ loves the church, trust me, communication, even though it may not be a natural thing for you, you are more inclined to open your mouth and speak. Because ultimately, in marriage, it's not about you. It's about your wife. And if that mutual submission is with both of you, then you have a lot more fun time and joyful time than times of sorrow and pain. So I just pray that you stay encouraged, stay focused on each other, love each other, because when you're, as a husband and wife, when you get to love each other completely, trust me, it trickles to your children. Your children get to have joy, get to have freedom to express themselves, and just lean on each other, because with Jesus in the center, I mean, truly, man, it's locked in. So God bless you.